Hey y'all, my name is Sarah and I just love to talk about movies. Welcome back. So today I wanted to talk about one of my all-time favorite independent films, Brick. So Brick came out in the early 2000s, I think 2005, and it was directed by Rian Johnson, who is now known for the Glass Onion, Knives Out acclaim. So this was over 15 years ago in the style that is very lean and creative in different ways. When you're working with limited funds, you find different ways to accommodate for that, and sometimes it shows in the production value, but not in this film. So Brick is about a young man named Branden who gets a message from his ex-girlfriend, Emilie, asking him to meet at a phone booth. When he gets there, the phone is ringing and it's her. She's out of breath and seems really disturbed. Then she just hangs up the phone and goes missing from that day forward. And he decides to try to find her. So he goes on an investigation that leads him around different cliques at his school and out into minor league drug dealing gangs. And it's there that he finds out more about her involvement with said gangs. Before he can intervene on her behalf, we'll say, she's murdered. So that alters his investigation a little bit. And he's now looking for a murderer. As Branden is conducting this investigation, we're learning that this is like his thing, that he can dig up dirt, he knows how to work people in his own way, has no sense of what other people think about him. So he decides to sort of go undercover and pretend to be a part of said gang in order to find out who killed his ex. That's essentially what the movie is about. I don't want to give away who done it. So first of all, this is one of those movies that I come back to. And I will admit, I've watched this movie more times than I can count. And I still find new details within the story that I didn't even notice before. But one of the biggest things that I loved about it right away is the dialogue. To see teenagers in what was modern day, a regular suburb high school, speaking in coded language like something from the 1950s neo-noir crime thriller sort of mashup was something I liked right away. I could see it putting people off because it means that you're sort of decoding the dialogue as they're saying it, and it means that you'll have to watch this movie more than once in order to catch things that you may have missed in the first viewing, which I liked. I thought that was very clever. It's an interesting detail, but none of the high schoolers, none of the teenagers, you never see any of their parents throughout the entire movie. But the kingpin, you see his mom. There are so many great scenes that really tell a lot about the story. For example, when Branden is introduced to the kingpin, they're just sitting at a table and the kingpin's mother comes over and is like, do you boys want anything to eat? And he says no, everything is fine. She says, okay, well, I'll go do something in the other room, or something to that effect. And it's just so telling, and I love it. And the movie is full of details like that. Every time you think you can see the next step a character will take, it's like they'll take a sharp right turn or a sharp left turn. There are things that we don't know that are alluded to throughout the film. For example, how did Branden get into being that guy in the first place? And through conversations with other students, other exes, and the vice principal, we learn that he's kind of like a mole within the school, and that has given him certain benefits as a student. We learn about why him and his ex broke up in the first place, and is so dramatic. At one point, he's literally slapped in the face by his ex-girlfriend, and he's like, I'm trying to protect you, girl. She smacks him in the face. There's like issues of class. You know, his girlfriend wants to be a part of the higher class students, or the upper crust as they're called. He's like, they're just using you, they don't care about you, and you know, she wants to do her own thing. None of the characters are stereotypical. None of them, except maybe Branden, who is very smart, obviously, and carries a briefcase to school. But also, there are details about him that you learn in the story, like him talking about having to walk to school because the bus doesn't come to his neighborhood. He has like a little desk set up in the library where he sits, and he knows everybody's business. The characters will surprise you. Some of it seems so dramatic and over the top because it's coming out of the mouths of teenagers, but you are invested in the story. Like Megan Good's character, who is a total vamp, a seductress character, but also is a student at the school, so she's into drama club, obviously. And so when he goes to see her, she's often in makeup or in some kind of crazy costume. And it creates these almost surreal scenes between the two of them because of the questions that he's asking her about his ex. What was she involved in? Who was she hanging out with? And her acting oblivious like she doesn't know and is above it all. I mean, I love the outfits. Some of them are very standard high schooler. And then you see something that's like, that's different. Like the Kingpin, for example, uses a cane. I think he has a club foot. The young, sweet ingenue Laura wearing her like 1920s flapper girl kind of outfits, like feathers in her hair and whatnot, driving that car. Her whole like smoky lounge singer act, you know, I'm not involved. I have no idea what's going on. It's all works together so well because everybody has a role. And in between, you see all this normal stuff going on. Like at the school, him asking his ex, Kara, about Emilie and the fact that she's gone missing and nobody's seen her and nobody knows, you know, what happened. And then you have, you know, kids in the background rehearsing for this play. It's strange and feels almost surreal and almost like could push you out of the story, but it keeps going in such a consistent and steady manner that it doesn't feel that way. Plus, you want to know what's going on because you think that it should be simple. It should be a simple, easy storyline because they're high schoolers. And come on, how much trouble can a high schooler get into? A lot. Branden is out there drawing attention to himself in a very big way in order to be able to communicate with people like the Kingpin. And him being a regular nobody and not interested in the game, he was gonna have to do something really dramatic. So some of the actions that he takes, you're not sure where they're going to lead because they seem random or impulsive, like the acts of a teenager, until you see the pieces of his plan start to come together until the very end of the story. The story wraps up, you know, neatly. The responsible parties are named. There's some violence, some blood, no gore or anything like that, but it does get pretty violent towards the end. The way they use music and sound design really creates this believable crime drama within the parameters of high school life. So you see the classrooms, you see the libraries, you see the outside of the campus, you see the auditorium, you know. You see the athletic fields in the back and a local coffee shop and random parts of the city, you know, where you have the phone booth in the middle of that road, and you have the tunnel, and you have all of these different locations that make the world feel very full and real and normal, like a boring upper lower middle class suburb. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies. I give it a 5 out of 5. I highly recommend it. Please let me know if you guys have seen this movie and if it still hits for you, because it definitely does for me. Thank you all for spending your time here with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time.